By the time the alert lit up my phone, every clock in the apartment was wrong. The microwave said 2:17 a.m, the oven 2:13. The cable box blinked 12 a.m, like it had given up on the idea of time altogether. My phone, though, didn't show time anymore. It showed this. Emergency alert. Do not ignore the countdown. 10 hours remaining. Just that. No vibration pattern. No amber warning tone. No weather notice. No, this is a test. The lock screen was gone. The icons were gone. My entire digital life boiled down to stark white lettering on an oily black that seemed to drink the hallway light. 10 hours. I stared at it, still half asleep, standing in my doorway in worn-out boxers and a t-shirt with a cracked band logo. I'm not a nervous guy generally. I reset servers at 3 a.m. for a living. Systems break and I fix them. That's the deal. But the longer I looked at that message, the more I felt something old and deep stiffen inside me, as if the floor had just tilted by a degree no one else could see. The countdown ticked. 9 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. The digits rolled with this unsettling smoothness. No flicker or visible change. Like the numbers had always been that way, and my brain simply updated to match. Okay, I muttered. Nope. I tried to swipe up. Nothing happened. I tried the power button, but had no response. Volume buttons, side taps, long press. My phone refused to do anything other than count down and glare a warning at me. The second line, do not ignore the countdown, sat there like a threat more than advice. I wasn't ignoring it. I couldn't. It filled my vision. I walked to the window overlooking the parking lot. The apartment complex was the usual 2 a.m. mess. One car alarm light blinking, pool chairs scattered, someone's TV pulsing blue on the 3rd floor. Then I saw other windows. Square after square of pale rectangles, all glowing in the dark. Not the friendly constellation of apps and lock screens. They looked like my phone. Brutal, high contrast white on black. A cold, greasy feeling slid through my ribs. Whatever this was, it wasn't just me. My landline rang. I nearly dropped the phone. The sound was so ordinary it felt obscene. I padded over and picked up the receiver. Hello? Ryan, you seeing this? It was Luke, my little brother. His voice had that half-joking edge he used whenever serious fear crept in. Please tell me this is one of your IT pranks. I'd love to take credit, I said, but I've got the same thing you do. So it's not just my building. I'm looking at about 30 windows that say we've got 9 hours and change to live. I switched the phone to my shoulder and peeked again. More screens had woken up in the dark, like the building itself had grown new eyes. How the hell did it even get on here? Luke said. I turned off all those alert things after that hurricane scare last year. Doesn't matter what you turned off, I said. If this was the federal system, it'd say so. It doesn't. You think it's a hack? I thought of our company's alert platform. The way we did push notifications for corporate clients. I'd never seen one hijack the entire OS like this, let alone every phone I could see outside my window. It feels too clean, I said slowly. Not like anything I've seen before. People online are freaking out, Luke said. Twitter's going insane. Twitter's always going insane. Yeah, but this is like extra. He took a breath. I could hear the scrape of him pacing his kitchen floor across town. If this is some end-of-the-world countdown, I'm going to be pissed. I just bought groceries." His attempt at humour didn't land. Not this time. "Put on the news," I said. "I'll call you back." He started to say something, but then hesitated. "You promise?" "What?" "You'll actually call back, not like last Thanksgiving." Guilt poked me in the ribs. "Yeah," I said. "I promise." We hung up. I set the landline down, walked to the TV and grabbed the remote. The power button did nothing. I pressed it again, harder. Still nothing. I pulled the plug from the power strip and jammed it back in. The TV screen stayed dead. Even the red standby light refused to show up. I glanced at my phone, and the countdown was still marching onward. I'd stopped noticing my own heartbeat sometime around the first minute, but now it hammered against my throat. Fine. If the TV was done with its job, I had a laptop. I boosted it up. Or tried to. The machine whirred, lit up, flashed the manufacturer's logo, and then froze. All I could see was a company emblem, staring at me. The microwave's keypad no longer responded to presses. My router's lights were dark. My digital alarm clock on the nightstand, the one that had been faithfully blaring at 6 every weekday for years, just showed the same countdown. It wasn't even connected to the internet. I went still, listening. The building's central air had shut off. Outside, a distant siren yanked itself into existence, screamed, and cut off mid-wail. Somewhere above me, someone yelled a curse word. Another voice answered, raw with panic. A dog barked. The sound was sharp, but then chopped off in the middle of a growl like someone hit mute. I realised, all at once, that everything electronic around me was no longer doing its proper job. Everything had a new job now. Count. The first disappearance happened 8 minutes later. I didn't see it in person. No one did. Not at that exact moment. Not up close. What we got instead was scraps. 3-second clips. Fragments from security cameras and webcams, and someone's live stream that cut midway through. By the time the networks came back, in a crippled, half-functioning way, like a blow to the head, social media feeds were already filled with them. The routers had woken back up, grudgingly, as if only because the countdown allowed it. I sat on the couch with my phone propped against a coffee mug on the coffee table, my laptop balancing on my knees. The laptop no longer booted fully, but its browser would load exactly one site. A bare-bones text portal with a single live feed ticker above a scrolling feed of uploaded video clips. There wasn't any explanation or any logo. At the top of the page, it said in sterile sans serif, Global Incident Dashboard, Connection Provisional, Emergency Alert Active. The ticker updated by itself. 9 hours, 49 minutes, 59 seconds. Unidentified phenomenon. Reports of vanishing in multiple regions. Confirmation pending. I clicked the first clip. A gas station in Kentucky. Security cam footage from above the counter, grainy and washed out, the way those things always are. A woman in a yellow jacket, paying for cigarettes. The cashier was mid-yawn. A kid in a hoodie near the drink coolers. On the feed, the woman in the yellow jacket took a breath. And then, she was gone. Not in a movie way. No flash of light or anything like that. One frame she was there, with her messy hair and half smile, and cigarettes on the counter. The next frame, she just wasn't. Her jacket didn't fall to the floor. Her shoes didn't sit there empty. There was no indication that something had ever occupied that space. The cashier jolted backward, smacked his elbow on the cigarette rack, and stared at the spot where she'd been. His eyes were huge. The kid in the hoodie dropped his Gatorade. The bottle hit the floor and rolled, still capped. Another clip auto-played. A man on a video call with his girlfriend, both laughing. His phone, propped up vertically, showed the same emergency alert screen that mine did. He made a joke about their doomsday timer and raised a beer in mock toast. All of a sudden, his seat was empty. The girlfriend's scream went on until the video cut. I watched clip after clip. A nurse in Lagos talking into camera about how their hospital's power had flicked off and on all at once. Gone. A teenager in Korea dancing for her followers, trying to get the countdown in frame. Gone. A sleeping figure in a crib cam. One frame, there was a baby-shaped mound. In the next frame, the blanket was flat and undisturbed. Each disappearance lined up with a minute mark on some clock in a frame. Every 60 seconds, somewhere in the world, reality misplaced a human being. My phone rang again. I grabbed it. It showed Mara. My ex-wife almost never called. Our communication had narrowed to text messages about alimony and holiday schedules for 6-year-old Ben. A phone call meant something bad. I swiped and pressed it to my ear. "Hey." "Ryan, tell me you're seeing this," she said. No preamble, just raw-edged panic. "Tell me you saw the alert." "I'm looking at it. Ben has one too." I pictured my kid's small hands clutching his race car phone. The way he loved the bright case more than the gadget itself. "Is he with you?" I said. "He's asleep. I don't want to wake him." "Listen," I said. "Lock your doors. Just stay inside, okay? Don't go out if you don't have to." "You think this is happening outside?" she snapped. "People are disappearing in their houses, Ryan. Have you watched the feeds?" "Mara. Also," she said, her voice cracking up high. "Ben's iPad shows it. My old phone. Our smart TV. The thermostat. It's all the same number. I tried unplugging things, and when I plugged them back in, the countdown just picked up where it was. Same down to the second. It's like the devices remember." Something moved in my hallway. I stared down the hall, but there was nothing there. The cheap picture of the Oregon coast that came with the frame, a coat on the hook, the door. The air felt sludgy, like I was breathing through gauze. "You still there?" Mara said. "Yeah," I said. "Yeah. Listen, I don't know what this is. No one does yet. But it's only been," I checked the phone, 16 minutes. 16 minutes and how many people gone?" she said. On my laptop, the dashboard ticker updated. 9 hours and 44 minutes. Confirmed vanishings, 971. Patterns unknown. I swallowed. Only one per minute so far, out of billions. A motorcycle roared outside on the street, then cut abruptly. Not like someone braking, but like someone had lifted the entire sound out of existence, mid-note. A car horn started, but stopped halfway through its own blare. "Stay on the line," I said. "Put me on speaker, go check on Ben." I already hated myself for asking, for dragging her out of whatever comfort she'd propped up around our son. But I needed to know he was still there, breathing and warm. She didn't argue. I heard the click as she set the phone down and turned on the speaker, and the thud of her footsteps. The door creaked. My own heartbeat thundered in my ears, and it matched the tempo with the relentless countdown. Her voice muffled. "Benny?" I pictured him tangled in his superhero sheets, his hair sticking up. His little dinosaur nightlight painting blue stegosaurus shadows on the walls. He hated the dark. My laptop updated. Confirmed vanishings, 1,032. Reports of absences. Subjects remember non-existent individuals. Ryan. Mara's voice snapped me back. It was flat, empty. Yeah, I said. He's okay, she said mechanically. He's sleeping. I was so relieved. Okay, good. Just stay near him. Silence. Mara? I'm by his bed, she said. Something's wrong with his room. A cold sweat crawled down my spine. What's wrong? I can't. She took a shaky breath. His bookshelf looks strange. There's this gap where I know some toys were. I can remember stepping on that stupid robot 100 times, but it's not here. There's dust on the shelf, like nothing was ever there. The hair on the back of my neck prickled. Could you have moved it? I asked weakly. No, she whispered. I'd remember that. The line popped. Just a tiny clipped sound, like someone plucking a wire. I flinched. Mara? No answer. Mara, talk to me. My throat went dry. Mara, this isn't funny. A small, distant voice spoke. Not quite into the phone, like it was aimed elsewhere. Dad? My heart clenched. Buddy? Hey, I'm here. Is Mum with you? He sniffed. I don't feel good. My head buzzes. Okay. Where's Mum? There was a pause. Mum? His voice wobbled. Dad, did you have a dream about a mum? Like a pretend mum? The world tilted. Benjamin, I said carefully. Who lives there with you? Just me and you, he said, like it was obvious. You know that. I gripped the phone so hard my fingers hurt. Buddy, I don't live there. I'm in my apartment across town, remember? You stay with your mum. My tongue knotted around the word. It refused to pass. I tried again, pushing harder. Your mother. What came out was a wet, unpleasant vowel sound, like the memory of the word had been smeared with something dark. My ex-wife's name slipped through my grip like water. I could recall her face, her laugh, the exact way she rolled her eyes when I made bad jokes. I could remember divorce paperwork, her leaning against the doorway of what used to be our bedroom. But somewhere, between the shapes of those memories and the language my brain uses to label people, something had been cut. Ben made a small sound, a whimper. My head hurts, Dad. Everything feels fuzzy. I'm coming to get you, I said. The words left my mouth without a plan attached. It didn't matter. I needed to see him, to wrap my arms around something that proved I wasn't losing my grip on the world. Don't, he said suddenly. Why not? It doesn't want you to, he whispered. What doesn't? The numbers. I stared at the screen. The countdown rolled down by another second. What do the numbers say, Ben? I asked. He hesitated. The line picked up the rasp of his breathing. They said if you ignore them, it's worse, he said. They said if you pretend they aren't here, you get lost. More lost than the others. Who told you that? His voice was very small. They did. The ones who were already behind the numbers. The roads were chaos. I left the apartment 10 minutes later, keys in hand, and my phone gripped like a talisman. had half a hoodie on when I remembered my brother, and I thumbed his contact on the alert screen out of habit. It rang once, twice. In my ear, the tone sounded off-key and slightly bent. On the fourth ring, it cut to voicemail. The recording stuttered and warped and stretched out into a thread of glitchy non-sound. Then the line died. In the parking lot, people milled in clumps like cattle in a storm. Some were crying, some were shouting into their phones, but some were just standing there, hypnotized by the countdown on their screens. Cars idled with doors open. One SUV continued rolling slowly forward, its driver's side door swinging, and no one behind the wheel. It bumped into a parked sedan and stopped. On a second-floor balcony, Mr. Alvarez from 2B clutched his tablet, his lips moving in prayer. His wife, who watered her plants every morning at 7 sharp, was nowhere to be seen. A single gardening glove lay beside the plastic watering can. I climbed into my car and started the engine. Thankfully, it still listened, and pulled out onto the main street. The city, usually a mess of lights at this hour, glowed patchily. Some buildings were dark, completely. Some intersections had partially working signals, each light stuck on a single colour. News came through the car radio now, but distorted. The announcer's voice faded in and out, syllables clipped, as though someone had scrubbed the track with sandpaper. Global. Unprecedented. Authorities are urging. A burst of garbled noise. Repeat. Do not attempt to shut down. Another garble. Seems correlated with the 1-minute intervals. A woman in the next lane screamed from inside her minivan. Her window shot down and she waved both arms out. "Where's my baby?" she shouted. "Where is he? He was in the back." I glanced. The car seat behind her stood empty, with its straps fastened neatly, like a display in a store. The traffic light above us remained stubbornly red, even as cross-traffic stalled and faltered. I drove through it. No one cared about lights anymore. Every time the countdown hit a full minute, the world flinched. A subtle tremor slid through my bones, like the room of the universe being remeasured. I kept one hand on the wheel and the other wrapped around my phone, propped in the console. I watched the digits as religiously as any zealot. People on the sidewalks huddled in small groups, their phones held like candles. Others walked alone, talking to themselves, and their eyes unfocused. A guy with security on his jacket stood in front of a closed electronics store. Behind the glass, a whole wall of TV displays showed nothing but the same message, multiplied. Emergency alert. Do not ignore the countdown. "Hey," my phone said. Not in Ben's voice, not in my brother's, not in any voice I recognized. I jerked the wheel, almost swerving. "Who's this?" "You're watching," the voice said. It sounded like someone speaking while underwater. "Good. Who are you?" "You can call me an earlier error," it said. "A leftover." "You're on my phone." "No," it said patiently. "I'm in the gaps. Your phone is just where the gaps have begun to leak." Every hair on my arms rose. The highway entrance loomed ahead. Part of me wanted to speed up, to get to my son. Another part wanted to drive into a wall and stop this conversation. "What do you want?" I said. "Why is this happening? What happens at 0? There was a rustling sound, like pages flipping in a book that didn't entirely exist. "Your world is being corrected," the voice said. "Every run accumulates residue, orphans, stray references. The owner's grown tired of the clutter. The countdown is garbage collection. I barked a humourless laugh. You're telling me we're a computer cleanup routine? In rough terms, it said. You've been mismanaged. This is the fix. I swallowed. So the disappearances. Defragmentation, it said. These are just unused threads, dead ends, side characters without purpose. I thought of the woman at the gas station buying cigarettes, the kid in the car seat, my ex-wife's gardening glove. They weren't unused, I snapped. They were people. From your perspective, it said. From the perspective of the owner, your lives are just as incidental as placeholder text. My knuckles whitened on the wheel. Up ahead, brake lights flared. Cars had bottlenecked before the exit I needed. Orange cones were set up in a messy line, half toppled, as if someone had started to block the road and then vanished. And what happens if I ignore the countdown? I asked. The owner doesn't care either way, it said. The line was for you, a courtesy from me. Cold settled in my gut. From you. The gone ones didn't look away in time, it said. They lived like the world was stable. They didn't see the build-up, the small wrongnesses. The voice took on a strange wistfulness. I watched my own countdown once. Too late. The car ahead of me jerked sideways suddenly, as if yanked by an invisible hand. It slammed into the guardrail. The driver's face, framed in his side window, gaped in soundless shock. On my phone, the countdown hit 9 hours and 28 minutes. He vanished. The car's wheels snapped, free of the pressure he must have been putting on the gas pedal, and rolled backwards slowly, scraping along the rail. I drove past his empty seat, my mouth dry. What's worse than what's happening to them? I asked quietly. Silence. Then, see the gaps. Feel them. Be aware as each piece is deleted, it said. If you ignore the countdown, you sink straight into nothing. Like a program being closed without saving. And watching means you get to witness the teardown, it said. You get to see how unreal it all was. How many shortcuts. I thought you might prefer that. I thought of Ben hearing voices from behind the numbers. You're talking to other people too, aren't you? In their phones. Not many catch on quickly enough, it said. Your son is one. Children notice edges better. The owner hasn't decided what to do with him yet. The phone cut out there and then, as I wondered what the hell he meant by that. Mara's house. My brain kept using her name, even if my mouth refused. Sat at the end of a cul-de-sac. Half the driveways were empty now. Half the porch lights were off. The few lights still on shone sickly, as if filtered through something oily. I parked crookedly, climbed out and jogged to the door. I knocked, but there was no answer. Ben, I called. Buddy, it's Dad, open up. Nothing. I tried the handle. It turned. Inside, the air felt wrong. Not cold or hot. Just wrong. Like the room had been reassembled from memory and the dimensions were slightly off. The family photos on the wall had changed. In the one from the beach, it was just me and Ben, my arm around his shoulders. The space where a third person should have been, filled by empty sky. In another, a smear of colour hovered near us. Like the algorithm had tried to patch a hole and given up. Dad? His voice floated down from upstairs. I exhaled a breath I hadn't realised I was holding. Stay where you are, I'm coming up. I took the stairs 2 at a time. The hallway stretched ahead, far longer than it should have been. door after door. The house didn't have that many rooms. I glanced back. The stairs behind me seemed shorter. The angle felt wrong, like I was walking inside an optical illusion that grew the more I focused on it. Ben's door sat at the far end, his name on a little wooden plaque. The letters had chipped paint. My heart twisted at the sight of it. I pushed the door open. He sat on his bed, with his knees pulled up, the dinosaur nightlight casting its usual blue glow. His phone lay on the blanket in front of him. That same countdown was there. He looked smaller than I remembered, or maybe the room had grown. "Hey, buddy," I said, forcing a smile. He looked up. His face crumpled and he launched himself into me. I caught him, clutching his warm little body to my chest. He smelled like kid shampoo and sweat. "You came," he said into my shirt. "Of course I came." I pulled back to look at him. "How's your head?" He scrunched his face. "It hurts when the numbers jump." He glanced at my phone. "They're talking to you too?" "Yeah," I said. "Yeah, they are." "What did he tell you?" I asked. "That I might go to a different place," Ben said. "A cleaner one, with better rules, but without you." My chest felt like it was tearing open. "You're not going anywhere without me." On cue, the countdown rolled to 9 hours and 19 minutes. A ripple passed through the room. Ben shuddered. The posters on his wall, superheroes, cartoon characters, flickered. For 1 second, they showed blank white, and then returned, slightly off-center. "They're going to wipe this run," the voice on the phone said conversationally. "Start a new iteration, cleaner, optimized, fewer anomalies. You had a good run, relatively speaking." "Who is they?" I asked. "Who owns this? God? Aliens?" "Does it matter?" the voice said. "From inside the system, you can't see the operator, only the instructions." Ben stared at his phone. "He showed me a place where no one gets hurt," he whispered. "Where Mum's not sad anymore, and you don't fight, and I don't have those nightmares about the big empty." Ben's eyes shone. "I don't want to lose you," he said. "But I don't want to feel wrong all the time." I knelt in front of him and put my hands on his shoulders. "Buddy, listen. That place he's showing you, that's their version. Their idea of better. It won't be real, not the way we understand it." He sniffed. "What if this isn't real either?" "Then I want to go out with my eyes open," I said. The voice made a clucking sound. "Romantic." I ignored it. "Ben, the numbers say, do not ignore the countdown, right? You know what that tells me?" "That they're bossy," he muttered. "That they're scared of being ignored," I said. "If we look away, we drop into nothing. That's what our leftover friend says. But if we don't look away, maybe we make ourselves more difficult to remove." "Interesting," it said. "You humans and your need to matter." "Come sit," I told Ben. "We're going to watch it together, all the way down." His eyes grew wider. "All the way?" "All the way," I said. "If they're going to throw our world away, we're at least going to make them look us in the eyes while they do it." He hesitated. Then, slowly, he nodded. "Okay." We sat side by side on the bed, phones on our laps. His small shoulder pressed into my arm. The dinosaur nightlight bathed us in blue. The world outside the room murmured. A distant car alarm starting and stopping. A neighbour's voice through the wall. A dog barking itself hoarse. Each sound lurching and stalling as reality corrected itself. The countdown slid towards 9 hours. The next 2 hours felt like days. Every time the countdown hit a minute mark, the world jolted and something changed. Sometimes it was small, the pattern on the hallway carpet shifting, the paint on the banister peeling in a new way, a hairline crack appearing on the ceiling. Sometimes it was big. The house across the street vanished at 9 hours and 8 minutes. One blink, it stood there, with its beige siding, swing on the porch, and the mailbox with a dent in the side. The next, my view through Ben's window showed an empty lot. The grass underneath flattened, as if something heavy had been dragged away. I watched people stumble out of their own doors with phones in hand, staring at the void. Cars disappeared in slow dribs, leaving tyre tracks in driveways that led to nowhere. Streetlights blinked off one by one. The sky, the actual sky, lost some of its depth, becoming a blank, uniform grey, like a texture swapped for a lower resolution asset. Optimization, the voice said. They're lowering render detail as they wind down. Ben leaned his head on my arm. I feel like I'm in a video game, he said softly. Yeah, I said. Me too. We watched the global instant dashboard on my laptop in between resets. The confirmed vanishings climbed into the thousands, then tens of thousands. The pattern changed too. No longer one per minute, but several, then dozens. The number now read 102,391 vanishings. Cities reported chunks of population gone mid-commute. A train entered a tunnel full and emerged half empty. A school assembly camera caught an entire row of kids vanishing between one applause and the next, leaving untouched juice boxes and scattered backpacks. People's memories grew weirder. People swore there used to be more continents. Someone posted an old, grainy map showing a landmass in the middle of the Pacific, but no one remembered it now. Streets ended abruptly in cul-de-sacs that led nowhere. Bridges reached out into fog and stopped. Every time, those who remembered described the same feeling. Like a ghost limb where a piece of the world had been. You're not meant to remember, the voice said. The edit should be seamless. That you notice means they're rushing. Good, I said viciously. Let them rush. Ben watched me with wide, serious eyes. Do you think we're important enough to make them mad? He asked. I think they're not used to being seen, I said. That's something. At 8 hours and 30 minutes, the dashboard changed. Migration in progress. New build. Initializing. What does that mean? Ben asked. It means they're spinning up the next world, I said. Your clean place. He chewed his lip. Can you come? The voice answered before I could. I'm afraid not. So they'll just delete me, I said. Eventually, it said, once your anchor functions stop being useful. I laughed, a harsh bark that made Ben flinch. Useful to who? To the ones debugging this shutdown, it said. They're watching through you, through the others like you, learning which sequences cause the least resistance. An idea caught in my mind. They're learning from us, I repeated. We can feed them bad lessons. The voice was silent. We can make things more awkward for them. It's worth a shot. Why would you want that? The voice asked, genuinely puzzled. If they're going to wipe us, we might as well make it as difficult as possible. The voice let out a sound that might have been a chuckle. You're making this very expensive for them, it said softly. I approve. You approve, I said, but you're one of them. I was, it said, once, before I watched my own countdown, before I realised they considered everything I loved about this messy simulation expendable. Ben perked up. You loved people here? Not in your terms, it said, but I loved watching you. The unpredictability, the improvisation, the ways you fought the system even when you thought you couldn't. The room flickered. Ben's bed shifted half an inch towards the wall. His dinosaur nightlight blinked once, then steadied. I got stuck, the thing in the phone said. I suppose you could call me a virus. By the time the countdown had hit 5 hours, the world had emptied out. No more cars passed outside. The highway hum had dwindled to nothing. The wind still moved the trees, but too evenly, as if it was looped. The sky had settled into a perfectly uniform grey dome, with no visible sun, just ambient light. The global dashboard reported billions gone. No more exact counts, just approximations. Language itself had begun to erode. Headlines collapsed into broken placeholders. Subject, verb, object, deleted. Localization's failing, the voice said. They're stripping down everything non-essential. Ben's posters had gone bare. The walls were blank, fresh paint with no scuff marks. My memory held images of crayon drawings, stickers, stains from juice spills. His room now looked like a display in a furniture store. Don't forget, I whispered under my breath. Don't you dare forget. Who are you talking to? Ben asked. No one, I said. Just close your eyes. He yawned, then blinked in surprise at himself, like his body had betrayed him. How am I tired? He said. The world's ending and my body still wants a nap. He leaned against me. Promise you'll hold my hand all the way down, he asked. I squeezed his fingers. Cross my heart. The countdown slid towards 4 hours, and then 3. As it ticked down, the voice told us stories. It described previous builds, earlier versions of reality. Worlds where time looped after 30 years, over and over. Worlds where gravity was slightly weaker, where people leapt higher and fell slower. Worlds with 3 genders, 4 states of matter, a different colour spectrum. None of them lasted more than a few cycles, it said. The owner gets bored, or the metrics aren't optimal, or some emergent property scares them. What scares them? I asked. You, it said simply. You keep making choices they didn't code for. Ben snorted sleepily. Good, he mumbled. At 2 hours, the bed shook as if something massive had shifted beneath the house. The walls bowed in, out, and then in again. For a second, I saw, impossibly, the skeleton of the world. Not literally. It wasn't pipes and steel and concrete. It was a lattice of information. Threads of meaning. Relationships connecting every object to every other. Some of those lines glowed brightly. Others dimmed, flickered, and blinked out. I saw my own line, stretching from my heart to Ben's. Thick and bright. Reinforced by 1,000 little interactions. Bedtime stories, scraped knees, shared cereal, bad jokes. I saw other lines thinner, fraying already. I saw a faint line connecting me to the leftover voice, an odd kinship. That's you? I asked softly. Yes, it said. That's me. The vision faded, leaving ordinary walls, a kid's bed, and a cheap rug. My eyes stung. You're not supposed to see that, the voice said. Nice work. What happens to you at 0? I asked it. Best case, it said. They don't notice and take me into the new build. Worst case, they scrub the logs more aggressively this time, and I go where the vanished go. Nowhere, I said. Less than nowhere. You stuck your neck out for us, I said. That must count for something. Not with them, but maybe with you. Ben's breathing evened out. He'd fallen asleep against my side, with his mouth slightly open. I brushed his hair back from his forehead. It felt solid to me, still real. I wish I could keep you, I whispered. Somewhere, somehow. The countdown slipped under 1 hour. The world had narrowed to the bed, the room, and the glow of our phones. The house outside our door barely existed anymore. When I cracked the door open once, just to see, the hallway beyond was a foggy smear, like an unfinished texture. Shapes of doors hovered with no detail. Rendering's been deprioritized, the voice said. They're focusing resources on the new build. Let them, I said. We've got what we need in here. Ben woke up again with 15 minutes left. His eyes open, clear and calm. Is it almost time? He asked. Yeah, I said. It is. He sat up straighter. Do you think it'll hurt? I don't know, I said honestly, but I'll be here the whole time. He nodded. Okay. The voice spoke, quieter than before. They're noticing us, it said. Good. They're trying to smooth your anomaly, it said. Reset your emotional states. You may feel sudden peace. Thanks for the warning, I said. Sure enough, a sensation slid over me like warm water. A soft, golden calm. A sense that everything was fine, that the countdown was natural, that 0 was just another number. I recoiled from it as if it was a worm in my brain. Get out, I snarled. The calm faltered. My own fear surged back, fierce and bright. You know you don't have to listen, I said to my son. He nodded. I chose you, he said. I'm staying with you, even if the clean place looks really nice. My throat closed up. I wish I could tell you you're wrong, I said. That you should go, be safe. But I'd be lying. Safe in a cage isn't better, not to me. He leaned his head against my arm again. Then we're going together, he said. The countdown ticked down. Each second now felt like a heartbeat for the whole world. I'm scared, Ben whispered. Me too, I said. It's okay to be scared. Do you think they're scared? The owners? Yeah. I considered. Somewhere beyond the sky, beyond every metaphor I had, something was watching. Something that saw us as entries in a database. I pictured them as a bunch of faceless suits. I pictured them as bored interns. I pictured them as gods, as children, as aliens. None of it fit. They were simply others. I think they're scared of losing control, I said. We're pretty bad at being predictable. I smiled. Our best feature. The digits rolled. 1 minute to go. A deep, bone-level vibration echoed through us. The room around us stuttered. The bed doubled and tripled. For an instant, I saw 20 versions of us overlapping. Some were crying, some were detached, some were blissed out on injected peace. But all of them were clutching their phones. I love you, I said to Ben. He looked up at me with huge eyes. I love you too, Dad. Don't look away, I said. No matter what. Keep looking at me. He nodded, with his jaw clenched. My vision narrowed to the screen. The numbers weren't digits anymore. They were an opening, a tunnel, a seam between states. Behind them, something vast shifted. I felt the owner's attention turn towards us. It was like being pinned under the gaze of an ocean. "They see you," the voice said. "All of you, all over the world. The anchors who refuse to go quietly." "Good," I thought fiercely. "Look at us. Look at what you're throwing away." The calm returned, twice as strong, trying to overwhelm me. I clawed at it with every stubborn instinct I owned. "You will not," I spat. "I refuse." Ben squeezed my hand so hard it hurt. "I'm holding on," he said through gritted teeth. "I'm holding on." 10 seconds. The world around us began to peel. The walls dissolved into wireframes, then into lines of code that scrolled by too fast to read. My own hands became translucent. I focused on every memory I had. Ben's first cry, my brother's dumb jokes, my ex's tired smile, Mr. Alvarez on his balcony, the woman in the yellow jacket, the cashier at the gas station, the kid in the empty car seat, Mara's missing bookshelf toys. I poured them all into the gap. "Remember us," I hissed, not at the voice, not at Ben, but at the towering presence behind the countdown. "You don't get to say we didn't matter." The countdown hit. The world held its breath. Nothing exploded. No white light, no thunder, and no trumpets. Just a soft, almost bored click, like a mouse button being pressed somewhere beyond the sky. For a moment, everything went utterly black. Not the way your eyes close, not the way a room goes dark when a bulb fails. This was deeper, like trying to get a blind person to explain what they see. It's just an absence. I felt myself sliding, not downward or upward, but out of meaning. In that impossible, stretched moment, I heard the voice again, very far away. "I've got you," it said, "as much as I can." The blackness cracked. A new world blinked into being, sharp and bright. Not for me, for someone else. For a boy with familiar eyes in a different house, in a different body, in a cleaner universe, staring down at his brand new phone as an alert appeared. He frowned, sensing something missing. A ghost at his shoulder, a memory of a man's hand holding his. He couldn't name it, not yet. But somewhere, something remained. All it said was, "You don't get to ignore us. We remember what you deleted." Out in the dark where nothing's meant to linger, something that used to be me clings to that thought. I have no body and no voice, but I'm still counting, waiting to be reunited with my son again.